on the screen so the public can actually see? Can IT do that? Make Mr. Garrett Neighborhood Choice Award the bigger part of the screen?
If they have that, hold on one moment. What exactly is it that we're placing up? I'm sorry.
It says Christie H, and then it says Choice Neighborhood. So the one that says Christie H needs to be enlarged on the screen. I think that's the director on that screen.
Yeah.
I'm actually being in contact with IT now for that purpose.
Council President, I can go ahead and begin. I had a couple of opening remarks before I handed it over to the rest of the team.
Okay, all right. Just introduce yourself and put your name and your title on the record.
Good evening, Council President, members of council. My name is Jelani Garrett. I'm the Executive Director of the Trenton Housing Authority. I want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to present before you this evening with respect to our Choice Neighborhoods North Trenton Transformation Plan. Before I begin, I just wanted to again thank Council President for allowing us to be on the docket tonight. I want to acknowledge my commissioners, some that are on the phone, and the chairman of our board, Mr. Clifton Anderson, to my right, is in the room. I would like to acknowledge the various Trenton Housing Authority staff that have worked on this project. Christy Huff.
Could they just wave their hand, Mr. Garrett? Sure. Because the screen is kind of small, and then that way, yes. Mm-hmm.
We have Christy Huff tonight, who is our Director of Redevelopment, who Ms. Huff and Woo Kim, principal of Dub Wallace Roberts and Todd, are going to go into the presentation. We have Pamela Brooks, who is our Director of Resident and Community Services. We have Mr. Freedom Green in the room, who is our Community Liaison. We have Jonathan, our redevelopment project manager, a new hire, Amy Baldwin, our administrative assistant, and Mr. Godfrey's in the room. We also had, just to acknowledge all the staff, it looks like Ms. Walker walked out, but we had R.G. Walker as well, who's our Director of Housing Operations. We have Donnelly Home residents in the room. We have the president and vice president of the Donnelly Homes, and what are you, the sergeant at arms? Okay. Of the Miss Virginia Marshall, Donnelly Coast Weiss, and Miss Dottie. Lane. Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a number of residents. I don't know all the names. We have a number of residents here, actually from the North Trenton neighborhood, and we have a number of local contractors who came out to support us this evening. As you pan the room, there are a number of contractors here who have worked with us in the past. We have Mr. Youngblood, who had a major portion in actually doing the electrical at Turner Point. We have Mr. Stan Tucker, who does all of our landscaping here at the Housing Authority. We have Mr. Dave Craig from Tri-City that does a number of our plumbing. We have Do-It-All Construction, Jerry McClure, Electrical. I don't know all the names. We could go around, but this is our team that is actually helping us implement the things that we need to implement here at the Housing Authority. I just want to say that we're here in the Donnelly Homes Cafe. The Donnelly Homes Cafe was a space that was underutilized, and we just put a little touch on it and essentially made it into a place where residents gather, employees gather, and community stakeholders gather. And in the development of this plan, this room was very significant in that it brought us all together as a community. We had numerous discussions. Some of them got a little tough. We went back and forth with each other, but we're here now and we'll continue to move forward. I just wanted to, before I hand it over, like I said, to Christy Huff, our Director of Redevelopment, and Mr. Woo Kim, I just want to make a couple of points about our progress here at the Housing Authority since I've been actually the Executive Director. We came before Council in April of 2019, and we laid out a couple of goals that we had. One of them was the redevelopment of Page Homes. That was in early April 2019. And we told you that we wanted to redevelop Page Homes, and we wanted to do it with a strong participation by local contractors. And we achieved that. It can always be better, but we contracted $20.3 million on that job, and $5.1 million went to local contractors, many of whom are in this room. We had 82 new hires on the project. 50 of those hires was local Section 3 hires. We also, as housing authorities are developing and growing and becoming more astute with respect to development, we also negotiated much greater give back and participation to the community and to the housing authority as we look forward into the future. The other thing that we said to you was that we were looking to apply for a choice neighborhood planning and action grant for the Donnelly homes in the surrounding neighborhood. Well, we applied and we were successful. We were actually one of 4 housing authorities and cities in the country to gain the choice neighborhoods planning and action grant. What was the impetus for applying for that grant? I just want to read to you real quickly the Trenton Housing Authority's mission statement. The Trenton Housing Authority is committed to providing decent, safe, and sanitary affordable housing that is well constructed, carefully maintained, and expertly managed. We seek to identify projects that have the potential to act as a catalyst for the revitalization of neighborhoods in the city of Trenton. We promote self-sufficiency among the families that reside in our community by partnering with local agencies and organizations to provide education, training, and employment and in business opportunities. So the impetus for this is in connection with our mission. And really, when we set out more to bring services to our residents. Our goal was to collaborate with local organizations to bring as many services as possible to our families and our residents. So even if we were not successful in getting the Choice Neighborhood Planning and Action Grant, I felt and the team felt like it would be an excellent exercise because it would send the housing authority out into the community and bring more resources in to the housing authority for the residents that we serve. We did receive the grant, and we actually stayed active through the pandemic. Right in March of 2020, around that time, the pandemic hit and many places shut down, many organizations shut down. I'm proud to say that our team here, we did not shut down. We continued to operate, and we continued to operate on a adjusted schedule, but we were clear that the services that we provide are not services that could be provided remotely, that we have to be there, touching, feeling, seeing the people, listening to people, hearing the people, and moving forward the type of programs that can help the people to be uplifted. We also at that time actually were granted a family self-sufficiency grant that promotes self-sufficiency among families. So we continue, and I'm not going to steal Christy's thunder because she's going to talk about the different things we did during the pandemic to accomplish our goals. But suffice it to say, I believe that we have a competitive advantage that I'm going to speak about when it comes to applying for a implementation grant, because we continue to move, we continue to engage, we continue to plan, and we continue to dialogue with the community. I know of a number of housing authorities who shut down, and we're ahead of them because of that. So that's a beautiful thing. What does the plan accomplish as it's envisioned? It's really about the redevelopment and revitalization of a neighborhood from the grassroots. Not so much bringing folks from outside to the inside, but really a look at how do we revitalize our community from the grassroots up, from the bottom going up to the top. It hopefully will catalyze interest and investment in the neighborhood. And for the first time, we're proud for the first time, and I would like to give credit where credit is due. This was part of our engagement efforts. When we were having our meetings, we met with Council President McBride, we met with Councilperson Marge Caldwell Wilson, and one of the one of the ideas that came up with respect to the action grant money was that it should go toward improving homeowners' situation, facade improvements and different things like that. And we incorporated that into our plan. And this is actually the first time that the Housing Authority is expanding beyond its own walls and going out and using HUD funds to advance the neighborhood, to make an investment in the neighborhood. So I'm very proud of that. I just want to say that before I bring Christy on as well, the Trenton Housing Authority is a true partner at the table, okay? What we're looking for here, we're not looking to hand over our assets to a private organization or to just give up control. We're looking to basically be a grassroots partner, a true partner, and to make sure that we get the community benefit that we're looking for in this project. The THA sees itself as not just a provider of housing, but an organization that can catalyze economic development in Trenton's neighborhoods. THA understands that the quality of life in urban neighborhoods can only be improved through sustainable economic development initiatives where members of the community participate and benefit. Subsequently, this idea and principle guides THA's approach to its projects, programs, and initiatives. And just an example of that is that usually housing authorities go out for a master developer. They call it a master developer. Well, the Housing Authority, we went out for what we call a co-developer. And our documents reflected that we are co-developers. So yes, the development partners, who, by the way, I failed to recognize, we do have a representative from the Michaels organization on the line, Mr. Andrew Davenport. But the co-developer or the developer brings much to the table. They bring financing to the table. They bring expertise to the table. But the Housing Authority brings land to the table. The Housing Authority brings the relationship with city government to the table. And I like to say, we could do this program with pretty much any developer that has the capacity, but they can't do this without us. So that's what we need to understand when we move forward in these projects. And finally, I would just say, what's next? Real quick, this is about what we're going to ask you for is an ordinance that has to do with site control with a number of properties that you will see in the presentation throughout the North Trenton neighborhood. This site control is a threshold requirement for us to be able to apply for Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant. Those implementation grants right now are $50 million, and that $50 million will seed our efforts toward revitalizing this entire community. So with that, thank you very much. I'm going to actually turn the floor over to Ms. Christy Huff, our Director of Redevelopment. Thank you.
Mr. Garrett, before
Yes.
Ms. Huff starts, she has the 6:45 will be the timeline. We have another presentation behind you.
Okay.
I did relate that to you when we set this appointment, that there were two presentations for this evening. All righty.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to provide a brief update on the Choice Neighborhood Plan and an overview on it, and just the next steps where we're going. I have the clicker. Okay. So Choice Neighborhood is a successor of the Hope 6 program. Our Hope 6 program was the former Miller Homes project, which is now Rush Crossing. A lot of contractors worked on that project as well. And that focused on repairing distressed public housing. The Choice Neighborhood it goes beyond the distressed public housing. It goes into the neighborhood, as Mr. Garrett says. So we chose Donnelly Homes as the site for our Choice Neighborhood site. We are looking to reduce blight, deterioration, declining in the neighborhood. The plan consists of three components: housing, people, and neighborhood. The housing plan will replace distressed public housing, which is our Donnelly home site, and we will preserve it with high-quality mixed-income housing. The people will improve the quality of life for people, such as employment, education, wealth building, and health. And the neighborhood is striving to improve the safety, connectivity, shopping services, access to open spaces, and celebrate the history, arts, and culture of the neighborhood. Yes. Can you not hear me? Oh,
Yes, we can hear you.
okay. Okay, next slide. This is, I mentioned our Trace neighborhood site is our Donnelly home site. It consists of 376 units. The whole entire North Trenton neighborhood that we're looking at is 1,900 housing units. The grant was for $1.3 million. 350 went to our planning process, which is our consultant and our people planning partner, and 950,000 will go to our action activity. We mentioned one of the action activities, which is a facade program. We're putting 550,000 of that money just towards that facade program. We have many key partners. The city of Trenton was a co-applicant of ours. Wallace Robert Todd's is our consultant, and we have the Smith Family Foundation, Mercer County Community College, Mercer County Workforce Development, Capitol Health is a major partner and one of the only hospitals in its area, and was a key component to applying for the Trace neighborhood. You had to have a hospital or a major area, a major business in the area. We have IOS, Capital Area YMCA, Trenton Health Team, Grace Cathedral Fellowship Ministry, New Jersey HMFA, New Jersey Capital Partners, the College of New Jersey, Greater Mount Zion, the Trenton Police Department, and the Trenton Board of Education. And we have many more partners that's not listed here, but have joined the process. The purpose of the 2-year planning process was to shape the future and map out strategies to create welcoming, safe, and healthy, thriving neighborhoods. This is our 2-year planning process, which took us a little over 2 years, 2.5 years. We received a grant in November or September, it was, of 2019, and we had a kickoff event with HUD coming up and visiting, and we did a presentation. We toured the neighborhood, and we had all of our partners provide a presentation on all the services that they would provide to the neighborhood and to our residents. We, at the time, we did a big kickoff event, and we did needs assessments with the residents. We gave them incentives, which were tablets, for completing this really lengthy needs assessment, which we used to map out the plan. And then we were hit with the pandemic, so everything changed. So our planning process was no longer in person, it was virtual, and I'll show slides going forward of our actual engagement and events. We are now here 1.5 years of the implementation activities. We submitted our grant in we submitted our plan in December. We received approval in February of this year, and now we're in our action activities period. We plan on applying for a Trace Neighborhood Implementation Grant in 2023. If it comes out in 2022, at the end of the year, we plan on applying for it as well. We did select our developer during last year, which was the Michaels organization. Outreach and engagement. So as I mentioned, we began outreach and engagement in person, and this was around February of 2020. And you see we had a big event. It was for Black History Month, and that's when we engaged residents and were able to get them to come out and complete surveys and help us, answer the surveys that help guide the plan. Then we went to social distancing. You see a lot of masked virtual events. We did more outdoor events, so to keep in line with the COVID guidelines to make sure that we reduce the spread. And then this last slide here is a slide where we have children from our summer camp. They joined a planning process. It was a youth planning team that they collaborated with the Center of Community Planning, and they developed a park that they wanted to name actually after the Olympic gold medalist from Trenton, Ading Mo Park. And they went to the planning board and presented in front of the planning board and received preliminary approval, and also in front of city officials. And also on the side is our development selection process. We had a very stringent, evaluation process. We included residents, stakeholders, and staff, and we interviewed the developers. We We made them do presentations. We toured other housing developments that they developed to see, which developer fit our needs, and we selected the Michaels organization. This is a neighborhood leadership series. So this is something new. The Housing Authority has never done this before, but it was very engaging, very powerful. We had a lot of our resident partners and community partners participate, and actually a lot of them taught the class. Algernon, I know you taught one of the classes on the history of the neighborhood, since you've been here forever, and then you and you also but it was very engaging. A lot of the residents really enjoyed the sessions, and it was very powerful. And it was the reason we wanted to do this is to have residents obtain knowledge and develop leadership skills in regards to community development efforts to help them be more active in the choice neighborhood process. We ended the series with a virtual tour of examples of transformed neighborhoods and what they can look like. The transformed neighborhoods that we went to were one in Philadelphia and one in Jersey City, virtually, of course. This is Junior One. So in order to develop a plan and develop North Trenton neighborhood, we can't leave Junior One out. Junior One's been vacant for many years. It's a historical school. Many residents have fond memories of it, and we just hear all these positive stories about Junior One. So Junior One must be developed in some capacity. So we are taking that as part of our choice neighborhood, and we want to redevelop Junior One. We, from our community meetings, and residents want to see apartments and community spaces in Junior One. Some of the ideas that came out of the planning process were artist lofts, senior housing, performing art space, business incubator, libraries, shared commercial kitchens, community space, and for classes and events. Adjacent to it is a box school. It's in Philadelphia. That school is a great example of an adaptive reuse of a vocational school that now holds 150 small businesses. So we want to do a similar adaptive reuse for Junior One. Developing the plan. Goals and strategies. So these are goals and strategies that came out of the plan. I'm not going to read them all, but like I said, it's 3 categories: neighborhood plan, people plan, and housing plan. Housing plan, of course, is Donnelly homes. We want to revitalize, we want to redo Donnelly homes, and then also the neighborhood. We want to develop housing throughout the neighborhood. The neighborhood plan focused on redeveloping the efforts on MLK Boulevard, and also focused on increasing the public safety throughout the neighborhood, which was a big topic also. And the people plan focused on education goals, employment goals, and health goals. Neighborhood vision. I'm going to turn this portion over to Woo Kim, our consultant, because I want him to elaborate on the neighborhood vision, the design, and how we came up with the concepts.
Thanks, Christy. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. My name is Woo Kim. I'm a principal at Wallace, Robertson Todd, or WRT, and thank you for this opportunity. Good evening, Council President McBride and Trenton City Council. The neighborhood vision here really sort of is anchored by the assets of the neighborhood, assets such as Donnelly Homes, Battle Monument, really looking at MLK Boulevard as a sort of a connecting spine that holds everything together. Director Garrett mentioned earlier about looking beyond the boundaries of the housing authorities' 4 walls, and so that's exactly what we strive to do, which is also looking at rebuilding parts of North Trenton. And you can see here the infill development around Sweets Fountain Park and near Battle Monument as well. If you go to the next slide, and I have my eye on the clock to make sure that I end before the 6:45. As Christy mentioned, we went through a series of engagement process with residents. We provided examples of successfully completed mixed use, mixed income development. Some of these examples are actually from Jersey City, where we did a virtual tour. This was the top images are from a Hope 6 development there, and we asked for input and incorporated almost all of that into the design of reimagined Donnelly Homes. Next. We also wanted to make sure that the frontage along MLK is something that is respectful of that corridor and also the city's vision for a complete street along that corridor with some density and mixed use pieces as well. So we also looked at some multifamily options, and these projects are one way, shape, or form all tax credit projects that utilizes low-income housing tax credits, and they're done very well with the mixed-use component and apartment living above. And we heard about some of the comments from residents as well and incorporated them into the design. Next. Christy mentioned Junior 1. We also did some case studies about how schools or abandoned hospitals, vacant hospitals can be reimagined, not just as senior housing or regular housing, but they can be reimagined as sort of community spaces, third spaces, business incubators, preschools. These are two examples. One actually is from Edison, New Jersey, and the other one is from Cleveland, Ohio. And we also discussed this with residents. Next. This is a sort of a Lego block diagram of a reimagined Donnelly homes, and we also included a few out parcels beyond the boundaries of Donnelly homes, as well as Junior 1. And the color coordination here just shows you the kind of density. The brighter, redder colors are sort of multifamily elevator-served buildings, and then the orange colors are stacked townhouses, very similar to what's at Turner Point. Which is right just across the street from Donnelly, and then the yellow colors are sort of regular townhouses. As you can see here, we're keeping the gym and the Trenton Housing Authority Administrative Building, the building that the residents are sitting in today, as the heart of the redevelopment. We're looking to also de-densify Donnelly. So Donnelly is at about 370-something units now. The proposed plan on Donnelly is coming under what's there currently to make sure that we provide sort of more space for playgrounds and open space. It's also important to note that we went through multiple iterations of this, and residents have told us that they really value the open space. And so we decreased off-street parking in many of these parking courtyards significantly to provide more sort of public and semi-public open spaces for residents to use. Next. And you can see some of that open space if you kind of look closely, you can see some of the backyards to those townhouses and stacked townhouses. They came as a result of sort of giving up some of those parking spaces, which we worked with the developer, the Michaels organization, to do. And you can also see here some of the open space elements that coordinate from Junior 1, a sort of a reimagined front lawn of Junior 1 that connects into Donnelly, that provides some of that playground spaces and tot lots and open sort of active and passive recreation fields in Donnelly as well. Next slide. And this is a sort of an artist rendering of the mixed-use buildings along MLK. The Junior 1 school sort of reimagined with a significant open space yard, an apron sort of out in front, and what it could sort of be imagined as a farm stand or farmer's market or gathering space, and then incorporating some of the city's ideas about complete streets into the MLK corridor. Next. I believe that is time. I won't go. The overall housing plan is 567 units. 340, as I mentioned, are on-site on the Donnelly site, and then another 190 units are off-site on either the school property or on public properties in the Humboldt Suites area and the Canal Banks area. And then we have 37 home ownership units as part of the transformation plan as well. Affordable home ownership units.
Thank you. I wanted to give the council the opportunity to ask a couple of questions. If any council members have any questions at this time.
Council President, I do.
Yes, go right ahead, Councilwoman Vaughn.
They were great presentation, very informative, but I would like to have an opportunity to really, do a deeper dive. But there's some of the things that I just thought that should be highlighted or considered as you guys go off and continue your planning. I didn't see a lot of opportunity. I didn't see a mention of a library. Okay. So that concerns me. I can't see how you can build a community without a library. And also, I didn't see anything relate to hospitality. Yes, there's entertainment, but I would like to see perhaps, hotel or some type of, something in the hospitality industry. There's entertainment, there's culture, there's restaurants. But again, if you're going to have a thriving city, I think we got to start thinking about, incorporating the hospitality industry and any type of community build out or revitalization. Any other thing is that my concern, okay, so you have low income to moderate income housing, but I don't see a clear vision for transitioning folks to home ownership. I don't see any, you said you were 37 units, moderate income, townhomes, opportunity to buy or become, but 37, that's it. It seems like we're perpetuating the dependency on public housing. So I want to see if we could come up with a better model and better ideas and strategies to move people from public housing to or moderate low income housing to independent living and home ownership, because home ownership is the American way to wealth and out of the cycle of poverty and low income. And I want to see more opportunities or investors who's going to bring jobs into the area so that folks can buy homes. But that should be incorporated in the plan. And I don't see a lot of space dedicated to building out those opportunities. And the other thing is I saw that you're going to provide some training or some sessions on folks to build out a nonprofit agency, nonprofit organization. Oh, that's the last thing, communities of low-income folks need is more nonprofit organizations. I see those as a clear sign of the perpetuation of poverty. I would like to see in that slide, along with nonprofit organizations, of course, there's some people who have a desire to be in the field of social services forever. But there are also many people in our community who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to own their own businesses. So we got a lot of contractors in our city who don't know really, have a difficult time understanding the process to get contracts, RFPs to help grow their small businesses. So we should definitely put another slide in there alongside that nonprofit slide. I can't remember what page it was on, but you should definitely put a slide in there to teach folks about entrepreneurship and building out LLCs and businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, and show us how that is done. And definitely we should have a dedicated vocational school across the city. And I didn't see a plan to work with Mercer County Community College to bring that vocational expertise. You really don't have to build it out. You can leverage the existing operations of the Mercer County Vocational School and bring it back. And even the pieces we have at Trenton High School, we need to just build that out. So those are the things that I see, my concerns. And I would like to dive a little deeper and review all the slides and your proposals. But I'm certainly excited and look forward to the conversations and learning more. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I will make sure that Mr. Garrett reaches out to you. Councilwoman Caldwell-Wilson, you had your hand raised.
Thank you, Council President. Yolani, first I want to thank you and your team and our community members that have been working together for some time on this.
Councilwoman, speak up.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You
speak
can
up.
hear me? Joanna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I just want to thank you and your team, but specifically I want to thank the community that was involved in this planning. This is an excellent plan. But I did want to ask you, how many housing authorities applied for the federal HUD planning grant? And how many housing authorities in the country are finalists?
Well, I don't know how many applied for the planning grant, but there were only 4 in the year that we applied who actually obtained it. So it was a very very competitive grant.
Okay, but thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other council members that would like to ask Mr. Garrett and his team anything? Mr. Garrett, I just would like to, first of all, thank you for your presentation. And you already know, I've already discussed this with you several times. You know, I'm all about the green space and the children being able to actually go outside their homes and have some type of space for them. I'm also a big advocate in getting the community out. So I want to thank you for your efforts, but I just would like to say I want to see more, because when people walk out into their community, I would like it to do exactly what this picture is showing us. It needs to reflect how they want to see their community. So I appreciate the outreach to your residents. I think that's the number one focal point is for the people that pay the taxes, that has held the city together, be able to have input into any planning that goes on in any parts of the city, not in just their neighborhood, but across the city. So I thank you for the outreach to the residents, and I thank the residents for coming out, being a part, because it's so important for them to be a part of, and I appreciate it. The other piece that I would like to add to this is that we would look forward to you inviting any council member to the Donnelly Page homes, to your office, to your little coffee shop, so that they can actually get a better feel. What did I say? So they can get a better feel of what is going on and actually leave with something tangible in their hands and in their minds, so they'll have a better understanding of what you're trying to do here. And I want you at the end of the day to tell Miss Virginia that she has to stop bossing people around, forcing them to come out when they don't want to.
I want community, and you tell Virginia
So again, I thank you, Mr. Garrett, and please just invite any of the council members, whether they're in your ward or not, out to see exactly what you're doing. I think that's a great start. And Councilwoman Vaughn is now their council representative. She is the West Ward Councilwoman. The Donnelly Page Homes is now a part of the West Ward, so it's important for her to actually come up and meet with you and your team. Thank you again, Director.
Thank you. We will do that. We will do that.
Beautiful presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.